Now on Coast TV News.
Winds whipping in Fenwick Island. The gusts continue up and down our coast as we are hours after the morning high tide and are now bracing for what happens this afternoon.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. It's been a rough 24 hours along the coast with wind, rain, and coastal flooding. We are bracing for another round of major coastal flooding this afternoon. We'll time it out and when this nor'easter exits.
Rescue readiness.
But we are ready to serve in any capacity.
We look at the responders who are prepared to take action in an emergency situation.
Road worries. We are live on the roads and we'll have the latest on the amount of flooding taking place.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Here is Ocean City earlier this morning. What we are seeing here is about an hour after high tide. The waves in the lower part of your screen were creeping up on the beach and under the pier. The next high tide is at 2:25 this afternoon.
Yeah. So that was at 2:18 in the morning. This is live right now, happening now in Ocean City. Rough waves continuing to hit that beach as we continue to make our way through this coastal storm. And covering this live for us is Coast TV's Brandon Ferguson, who is in the Oak Orchard area. We're about 24 hours after the flooding and road closures began. And we continue to deal with the effects of an intense coastal storm. It is Monday, October 13th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us during our 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, we're going to go live with a report out in those conditions with Brandon Ferguson in just a few moments.
Yes, we've been receiving footage from viewers. Our crews have received footage of the flooding going on in our coastal parts of the state. And we're going to bring in First Alert Meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono to give us a deeper look at the weather this morning. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Elisa and Matt. And a pleasant good morning, Delmarva. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend and are staying dry. We are still seeing this nor'easter batter the coast with high surf, and through Ocean City and Rehoboth Beach, we're seeing wave heights up to 10 to 16 feet just off our coast. And we're going to continue to see, some rain this morning, and a high risk of those winds are going to be continuing. Look at these wind gusts, 57 mile an hour peak wind gusts there, Indian River Inlet, 55 in South Bethany, 52 in Lewis, and we had even a gust of 46 in Georgetown over the last 24 hours. Now, as far as rainfall goes, just shy of 2 inches there in Harbison, over an inch and a half Stockley. We had over an inch in Georgetown and just shy of an inch in Lewis. Now, the good news is we have seen the brunt of this storm as far as the winds and the rain is concerned. Still seeing gusts upwards of 32, Indian River Inlet to 28, gust of 30 there out of the northeast. Temperature-wise, we're in the upper 50s to around 61, Rehoboth 59 in Georgetown. We've been dealing with a lot of wind-driven mist and showers and drizzle through the early part of your morning, but that is now shifted to the north, and we're just seeing a lot of low clouds. There is our area of low pressure just off the coast of New Jersey. You can see all that moisture being pushed up into New York and New England. Now, as far as the temperatures go today, we're going to hover right around the lower 60s with on and off showers, mist, and drizzle. As far as the rain is concerned, the heaviest rain is behind us. Our main concern going forward is the coastal flooding through the afternoon during the high tide cycle. We're looking at another round of major tidal flooding, and this nor'easter is just kind of hang around at least for the next 24 to 36 hours. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of on and off showers, misty conditions, as well as breezy conditions, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are tracking sunny, brighter times ahead as high pressure builds in mid to late week. We'll talk more about that coming up in the full 7-day forecast. Elisa.
All right, thank you, Chris. And we are now taking a live look at 5 Points in Lewis. As we can see, the rain from our camera looks like it is slowing down, but that road is definitely slick. It is wet this morning. This is one of the busiest intersections along the coast where Route 1 and Route 9 meet. This is video we grabbed from that area just a few moments ago. Yeah, we continue to track those conditions. Flooding became a factor in Sunday morning. Several roads became impassable. And it's on one of those roads where we find Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson, and we are finding him in a regular trouble area of Long Neck. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Matt and Elise. Yes, we're in the Long Neck area near Oak Orchard, and as we look out onto River Road, you can see the steady rainfall coming down and a little wind pushing right towards us. But when we get to the end of River Road, you can see exactly why it's called that. And actually on the other side of Oak Orchard, on the other side of River Road, there's a close sign where Oak Orchard Road meets River Road. But we're going to come up to this yellow reflective sign on the right side of us, water on the road, because as we get here to the end of River Road and stop right here, this is how far we can get. As you can see, the sitting water ahead of us, you can't even see this driveway to our right or where the lane continues. And you can see that if we were going to continue forward in the First Alert Weather Jeep, it would go halfway up at least on the side of the Jeep. This is where we are right now on River Road in Millsboro. You can see the heavy flooding already setting in here. That's for us now, live in the First Alert Weather Jeep. Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Brandon. New this morning, emergency crews in Sussex County were called to assist with a medical situation Sunday afternoon in a flooded area of Potnet's Coveside. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says they used 2 high water utility vehicles to help the Middle Sussex Rescue Squad and Sussex County paramedics reach a patient who was in trouble because of the flooding. And to learn how the department says the utility vehicles serve the community, you can head to the article on CoastTV.com.
In Dewey Beach, here's what the area looked like at the first high tide on Sunday afternoon. As you can see, some back roads in town were almost invisible due to severe flooding. This is at Reed Avenue. Water overflowing in the background forced cars to turn around.
In case anyone does get stuck due to flooding, rescue crews are in standby in Lewis, and this includes members of the Lewis Fire Department, the National Guard, and other rescue teams, including from Newcastle County. They're down here too. They have equipment on the floor, vehicles ready at a moment's notice, and even boats in case they can't get through by car. Bob Murray, the deputy chief of the Lewis Fire Department, says his agency is prepared for any emergency.
But we are ready to serve in any capacity possible within a matter of a few minutes' notice.
And according to Murray, crews are expected to reassess the conditions later this morning at 11 a.m.
And because of the storm, Lewis says trash services will be delayed. According to the city, there will be no trash pickup today. Pickups that usually happen today will be moved to Tuesday, and Tuesday's pickups will be moved to Wednesday. The city says there will be no leaf pickup on Wednesday, October 15th.
Also in Lewis, people who have personal items on the beach or dunes in Lewis are being asked to remove them, and that includes chairs, dock boxes, kayaks. The city always asks people to do this at this time of the year. Anything left behind will be kept at Lewis's maintenance yard and then discarded by Halloween.
With the severe weather and flooding across Sussex County, some students will be staying home. All campuses of Sussex Academy will be closed today because of high winds and ongoing coastal flooding, according to school administrators. The Indian River School District has also announced a full closure of schools, though 12-month employees, excluding those working under teacher contracts, are expected to report at their regular time. Worcester County schools are delayed by 1 hour this morning, and you can also keep an eye on the bottom of your screen as there will be ongoing updates for more closures and delays.
New overnight, cheer centers across Sussex County are adjusting to the weather conditions. According to the organization, all senior activity centers will operate as normal today. However, there is not transportation to the centers in Roxana or Ocean View, and there's only transportation to the Lewis Cheer Center if roads allow. And this just in, after more than 700 days, Israeli hostages held by Hamas are now back in Israel. They're back with their families, and they're reported to be safe. The first phase of President Trump's peace plan is underway.
As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, President Trump is in Israel to speak to that country's governing body before heading to Egypt and a peace summit.
An extraordinary scene this morning in the Middle East. Israeli hostages held for 2 years in darkness and deprivation in Gaza, finally re-emerging, transferred by the Red Cross to be reunited with their families. In Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, Israelis cheering the moment they have prayed and protested for and chanting, "Thank you, Trump," as President Trump arrived in Israel to celebrate the peace deal he brokered, declaring on Air Force One,
"The war is over. The war is over."
Yet hours earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned the military campaign is not over. Israel and Hamas have so far agreed to phase 1 of President Trump's 20-point plan, the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners while the fighting pauses. Israeli forces pull back to new lines within Gaza, and desperately needed aid flows in. But thornier questions remain about Hamas disarming and leaving power war, and how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians flood back to whatever remains of their homes.
They're going to have to start by removing a lot of the structures that you see that are down to the ground. I mean, it's blasted. This is like a demolition site.
For now, though, an emotional release and rejoicing. This mother speaking to her hostage son, who is finally coming home to her, as President Trump prepares for a peace ceremony in Egypt, marking a major diplomatic achievement and long-sought relief after 2 years of devastating war. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this morning, runway construction and airline updates are on the agenda for the Wicomico County Airport Commission meeting today. According to the agenda, Breeze Airways' inaugural flight was a major success. Leaders say cost concerns linked to project delays are being reviewed, and an area with unsuitable soil has now been stabilized and successfully rebuilt. More information on these topics and others will take place this afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Happening tonight, Washington is back home in the Beltway, and look who is paying visits. It's the Bears, and the last time these two teams played, this is what happened. A Jaden Daniels Hail Mary touchdown after he was scrambling around there. It does end up in the end zone, and that sparked a run to the NFC Championship game last season. Kickoff tonight is at 8:15, and we'll have more on this game later on CoastTV News Today.
And we're just getting started this morning on CoastTV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, facial hair to help the homeless. We'll show you how a competition in Ocean City showcased fancy styles to raise thousands of dollars.
Also, bolt away from Bowers. We'll tell you what you need to know about the evacuation and where to find shelter.
And resurfacing to regain accreditation. What Salisbury Zoo is doing to strengthen their case. All that and more as CoastTV News Today continues.
A good Monday morning to you, Delmarva. Use patience this morning when heading out to work and school. We're dealing with rain, wet roads, and flooded roads at the coast. We're currently at 59 in Salisbury, so it is a damp, soggy start. We're seeing that wind flow out of the north, gusts to 30 in Georgetown, 22 Rehoboth, to 31 Indian River Inlet. We're at 58 in Milford, 59 in Milton, 60 Indian River Inlet, and 62 in Ocean City. We've been dealing with more of a wind-driven mist and drizzle throughout the morning. Most of this is pushed to our north, so we're generally dry. We're seeing a lot of low clouds. Here is our nor'easter just to our east, and it's really going to kind of sit there and kind of spin off the coast here over the next 24 hours before weakening and pushing to our east. So the main concern going into the afternoon is that flood of more major to moderate coastal flooding through high tide this afternoon. Misty drizzle conditions will continue overnight into Tuesday, and then we'll finally begin to see those skies clear by late tomorrow. We're dealing with a lot of showers and wind this afternoon and into the evening through the coast, with those winds gusting as high as 25 to 40 miles an hour. We'll track the rain, the wind, and when it all clears out in that full 7-day forecast. Lisa.
Thank you, Chris. In Millsboro, a 3-car crash led to multiple injuries. This is on Route 24 near Heritage Lane. Indian River volunteer firefighters, along with multiple EMS units and Sussex County paramedics, say they arrived to find a blue Chevrolet Trax collided with a Honda Pilot and a BMW X3, leaving significant damage. The highway was shut down as crews cleared debris and investigators worked on the scene. That cause is still unclear at this time.
Across Delmarva, the Salisbury Zoo is making upgrades. It's part of its push to regain national accreditation. The zoo will close from today through Wednesday for resurfacing of the pathways across the grounds. Zoo officials say the project is designed to improve safety, enhance accessibility for strollers and wheelchairs, and that the work is part of their larger plan to regain the accreditation from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. The Salisbury Zoo is set to reopen on October 16th, weather permitting.
President Donald Trump said he will impose an additional 100% tariff on Chinese exports to the United States. That's on top of the existing 30% tariff already in effect. In a Truth Social post Friday, President Trump said the tariffs will take effect November 1st or sooner. Trump's actions are in response to China ramping up export controls on critical rare earth materials, which are needed to produce many electronics.
Another flight test for SpaceX Starship could launch as soon as this evening, if the conditions allow. The launch window will open at 6:15 Central Time. This is the 11th flight test of the Super Heavy booster, and the Starship is the largest rocket system ever constructed, but parts of the vehicle have failed dramatically in 6 of its 10 test flights so far.
Continuing to see misty, drizzly conditions this morning, as well as quite breezy as well, with winds gusting upwards of 35 miles an hour. Watch for flooded roadways this morning, and yes, pack the patience because we are going to be dealing with more flooding later this afternoon through high tide. We'll talk about that coming up right after the break.
Time is 6:19, and you are looking live at the active ocean scene in Ocean City. And Chris, we are still dealing with strong gusts, but not as strong as we saw earlier.
Yeah, the good news is the strongest gusts are behind us. We've had we had the high wind warnings; those have been allowed to expire. But you can see the wave action continuing along Rehoboth Beach. Going to continue to see high waves at least for the next 24 hours. So beach erosion is going to be a big issue, as well as coastal flooding. 60 degrees right now in Rehoboth. Winds are out of the north, sustained at about 10 to 20. We're still seeing some gusts upwards of 18 Rehoboth, 31 Indian River Inlet, 28 in Ocean City, and 30 in Georgetown. Temperature-wise, we're at 58 Milford, 59 in Georgetown, 59 Salisbury, to 62 in Lewis. Seeing some low clouds out there, primarily across portions of Sussex County down through Ocean City. We had some wind-driven mist drizzle earlier this morning. That has since dissipated, but we'll continue to see misty conditions throughout the morning. Not expecting a whole lot of heavy rain here, but we will see some wraparound moisture as this area of low pressure continues to kind of meander just off our coast here over the next 24 hours. You can see wave heights off the coast of New Jersey, 17 feet. Waves across Delmarva anywhere between 10 to 12 feet. We just have coastal flood warnings up for Sussex County and Kent County up through about 8 o'clock tonight. That is really the primary concern, that high tide cycle. And we also have those gale warnings that continue for the coast. Coastal flood advisory, Dorchester, Somerset, Wycomico County, that runs through about 2 a.m. Could see minor coastal flooding there. Our main concern here is that coastal flooding along the Kent and Sussex County coastlines, up to 2 to 3 foot of inundation through the high tide cycle this afternoon, and that runs between about 2:30 to about 3:30 along our coast. Bowers Beach there, major. Lewis, major tidal flooding likely between about 2:38 and then Indian River Inlet, minor tidal flooding there in Ocean City. So on Delmarva today, highs generally in the mid 60s with on and off showers and those low clouds. You can see winds out of the north gusting upwards of 30 to near 40 miles an hour throughout the morning. By the afternoon and evening, you can see the wind shifts more out of the north-northwest with gusts upwards of 25, 30. And then as that low pushes more to the east, we'll see the wind shift back out of the north-northeast into the day on Tuesday. And then we'll still see breezy conditions at least through about early Wednesday. Now, as far as the rainfall goes, as I mentioned, that will be a minor factor going through the day today and into the evening as some showers and areas of drizzle pivot through the area into the afternoon through the evening. And we could see a few of those showers linger into Tuesday morning before we gradually begin to clear as that area of low pressure weakens and then pushes to the east. And then we're looking real nice by mid to late week as high pressure builds in. Rainfall totals, at least for the next 24 hours, we're looking at a general 1/4 inch to maybe as much as a 1/2 inch up through Kent County. Again, the rain not a big issue here over the next 24 hours. That area of low pressure then weakens, pushes to our east. High pressure builds in, and we are looking at below average temperatures as we approach Thursday and Friday with plenty of sunshine, and we're certainly going to need it after these last 2 days across the area. We're at 64 today with on and off showers. Again, breezy conditions, the north wind about 10 to 20 miles an hour, gusts upwards of 40. Few spotty showers tonight. It's damp, it's breezy, northwest winds at about 10 to 20 with gusts upwards of 30. And then by our Tuesday, we're damp with a few morning showers, but then we gradually begin to clear late in the day as those skies begin to clear. Gusts upwards of 35 miles an hour. Tomorrow we're at a yellow alert for our Monday, due in part to the rain, wind, and that coastal flooding issue through this afternoon. We see a few morning showers Tuesday. Otherwise, we gradually begin to clear through the afternoon. High pressure builds in by Wednesday, 71 degrees. And then we're looking at plenty of sunshine Thursday through Friday and into the weekend. And we could see potentially our first frost by early Friday morning, and we're looking at temperatures rebounding back into the lower to mid 70s by the weekend. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. This was the scene in Bowers after a voluntary evacuation notice on Sunday. Some water on the back roads. The fire company there says they did not have to make any rescues, thankfully, but are staying alert.
Safety comes first, not just for our community and surrounding areas, but for ourselves as well. But we're here in case anybody needs us.
And those who chose to evacuate in Bowers should shelter at the Magnolia Fire Company.
Up next on Coast TV News today, facial hair to help the homeless. We'll show you the competition to raise money for that important cause along the coast. We'll be right back. All types of beards and mustaches came together for the 8th annual Beard and Mustache Competition in Ocean City. The Bearded Men's Society of Ocean City, a local nonprofit, hosted the event for the homeless on the Lower Eastern Shore and making strides against breast cancer, causes that have personally affected many in the group. Money was being raised as the hair competition got underway, featuring a variety of categories, so anyone could join in.
Helped out at National Kidney Foundation at Cape Henlopen State Park up in Salisbury. So wherever we can, we're beards, beers, and volunteers. So if somebody needs our help, they call. We can get as many club members together. We go and help out.
Members say they plan to split the thousands of dollars that were raised evenly between both organizations. And we've been talking about it all morning, but since Sunday, many of our coastal communities have been dealing with severe flooding.
Yeah, that's when it started Sunday morning. You could see the high winds, the road started to flood, and Chris, we're not through it, and we're going to be tracking this, and it's going to be with us for several more hours.
Yeah, this nor'easter is going to kind of sit off our coast, and it's really going to kind of linger through tomorrow, but we're really concerned about the high tide cycle this afternoon. We're at 62 in Ocean City as the wave action continues to pummel the coast. We're seeing waves upwards of 10 to 12 feet, and you can see our area of low pressure just to our east with the winds out of the north-northeast. So coastal flood warnings, really the primary concern for coastal Kent and coastal Sussex County. These run through 8 o'clock tonight for the high tide coming in. Coastal flood warnings, Accomack, Northampton, Worcester through 8 a.m. And we also have gale warnings up through Tuesday for the Delaware coast and Monday morning through the coast off of Ocean City. So there is the high tide this afternoon. 318 Bowers Beach, 238 in Lewis, Indian River Inlet 252, and then Ocean City just shy of 230 there with some minor tidal flooding. So a lot of clouds stay along the coast with spotty showers and drizzle through Rehoboth and Lewis. It won't be raining all day, but we're just kind of a lot of low clouds out there with temperatures in the low 60s. We'll be right in the upper 50s, Cambridge, with cloudy skies, breezy conditions, winds upwards of 25 to 35 miles an hour there. Crisfield, a lot of wind there with highs around 60. Chris Tobin, Ocean City, Maryland, you're the winner of our Coast TV weather umbrella. And as always, you get your latest forecast by dialing the First Alert weather phone. We'll track the nor'easter coming up in the next half hour. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. And after the break on Coast TV News today, assessing airport conditions. We'll give you an update from the Wicomico County Airport ahead of a meeting today.
Also, first responders at the ready. We'll show you the operations at the Lewis Fire Department and when officials there could reassess weather conditions.
And flooding creates difficult rescue. We'll show you the major effort it took to reach a medical emergency in Millsboro after roads became impassable. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Active ocean. The coastal storm producing rough waves as we brace for the next high tide cycle this afternoon.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. It's been a rough 24 hours along the coast with wind, rain, and coastal flooding. We are bracing for another round of major coastal flooding this afternoon. We'll time it out and when this nor'easter exits.
Rising Waters response: how crews assisted during a medical emergency in a flooded area of Potnetz and the challenges they faced.
East Coast effects. What neighboring states are experiencing with a system that is causing significant flooding.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Check out this in Fenwick Island. We got this from DelDOT just after 2 this morning. A good indication of how strong the wind is with those flags, the traffic light, and the rain that was falling.
And this is a live shot in Ocean City this morning. As we can see, that wind is a big effect there. We're not necessarily seeing a ton of flooding from this angle, but that inlet right there, it is high in comparison to usual without these storms.
And covering this for us live is Coast TV's Brandon Ferguson, who's now in Dewey Beach, and he has the latest about an early morning fire. We're going to get to him in a moment, but that is how we start this half hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're hitting 5:34 on this Monday morning. Our wild ride through this coastal storm continues, and we're not done with it yet.
It's been a busy 24 hours on the coast, and to give us more details, we're going to bring in First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono to join us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Elisa and Matt. A pleasant good morning, Delmarva. Yeah, you're going to want to pack the patience heading out the door this morning. We're still seeing a lot of flooded roadways and neighborhoods across the coast. Tremendous wave action continues in places like Ocean City and Rehoboth, where we're seeing waves upwards of 10 to 14 feet just off our coast. Well, we peaked at a 57-mile-an-hour wind gust there in Indian River Inlet, 55 in South Bethany, and these are wind gusts over the last 24 hours. 52 mile an hour there in Lewis, 48 in Dewey, and we even had a gust upwards of 46 miles an hour in Georgetown, 42 in Fenwick Island. Rainfall over the last 24 hours. We had just shy of 2 inches there in Harbison, Stockley, 1.52 there, Dagsboro, 1.26, just over an inch in Georgetown, and just shy of an inch in Lewis. Currently, we're seeing wind flow out of the north, still gusting upwards of 33 Indian River Inlet, 29 in Ocean City, 30-mile-an-hour gust there at Georgetown to 24 in Millsboro. We're at 60 in Rehoboth, 60 Bethany, 59 in Milton, and 58 in Laurel. We've had rounds of wind-driven mist and showers throughout the morning. Most of that has dissipated, pretty dry across the midshore, Crisfield down to Chicotee. Most of the heaviest rain shield has lifted to the north in places like New York, Long Island, and New England. Here's our nor'easter just off to our east, and it's going to continue to kind of pivot off the coast over the next 24 hours. So we'll see a few showers and areas of drizzle pivot into the region later on today through the evening. So no sunshine today. We're going to be dealing with a lot of clouds across the area, and again, on and off showers. Wind won't be as breezy, as windy as we were yesterday, so we're going to see winds gusting upwards of 30 to 40 miles an hour, but that main concern going into the afternoon is going to be more coastal flooding concerns. Major to moderate coastal flooding through high tide this afternoon. The nor'easter will finally begin to exit and weaken Tuesday, so we'll see periodic showers and drizzles up until then with wind gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour, but the good news, high pressure builds in mid to late week, and we'll see that sunshine make a return. We'll talk more about that as well as the coastal flooding issue in a little bit later on the newscast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. Hey, let's take a look at what's being seen on our roads. Here is Coastal Highway in Dewey Beach. Light traffic there. Roads a little wet. This is video that we received from DelDOT moments ago.
And the strong wind gusts Chris just mentioned have been a serious problem in several areas, including Dewey Beach and a fire situation.
Yeah, that is where we are going to go live now. Coast TV's Brandon Ferguson has made his way to this fire location, and we are learning one house was in flames. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Matt and Elisa. Yes, we are here just 2 blocks away from Carolina Street in Dewey Beach, and you can see the presence, the police presence, fire trucks in front of us. We're just 2 blocks away, and Dewey Beach police say earlier this morning on Carolina Street, like Matt mentioned, one house is fully involved in this fire, and police say other nearby structures are involved as well. And as of 5 a.m., Dewey Beach police say the fire has been put out, and at this time, there are no reports of any injuries. We'll be right back here at 6 a.m. and we'll be as close as we can to this scene here in Dewey Beach. Live in Dewey Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
All right, thank you for that live report, Brandon Ferguson. New this morning, emergency crews in Sussex County were called to assist with a medical emergency Sunday afternoon. This was in a flooded area of Potnet's Cove side. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says they used 2 high water utility vehicles to help the Middle Sussex Rescue Squad and Sussex County paramedics reach a patient who could not be accessed because of the flooding.
In case anyone does get stuck due to flooding, rescue squads are on standby in Lewis. This includes members of the Lewis Fire Department, the National Guard, and other rescue teams, including from Newcastle County. They have equipment on the floor, vehicles ready at a moment's notice, and even boats in case they can't get through by car. Bob Murray, the deputy chief of the Lewis Fire Department, says crews are expected to reassess conditions at 11 a.m.
And because of the storm, Lewis says trash services will be delayed. According to the city, there will be no trash pickup today. The pickups that usually happen today are being moved to Tuesday. Tuesday's pickups will move to Wednesday. The city says there will be no leaf pickup on Wednesday, October 15th.
This was the scene in New Jersey as locals there are also dealing with the impacts of this nor'easter. As you can see, this community is completely submerged in water as the storm moves up the East Coast. Sidewalks, street signs, fire hydrants, and light poles were also partially underwater.
New this morning, runway construction and airline updates are on the agenda for the Wicomico County Airport Commission meeting today. According to the agenda, Breeze Airways' inaugural flight was a big success. Leaders say cost concerns linked to project delays are also under review, and an area with unsuitable soil has now been stabilized and successfully rebuilt. More information on these topics and others are taking place at 3 this afternoon.
This just in, 7 Israeli hostages have been transferred and are on their way to Israel forces in the Gaza Strip. Red Cross vehicles could be seen leaving Gaza City this morning after the news was announced by the Israel Defense Forces. But thorny questions remain about Hamas disarming and leaving power and how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians fled back to whatever remains of their homes.
They're going to have to start by removing a lot of the structures that you see that are down to the ground. I mean, it's blasted. This is like a demolition site.
The IDF also said it was prepared to receive additional hostages who are expected to be transferred to the Red Cross later in the day.
And we have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Firehouse Open House will tell you what you can learn about fire safety and more.
Also ready for Monday Night Football. Washington's back home and ready to make a run at first in the NFC East.
And going home early, we'll tell you why the endless summer cruising event in Ocean City had to wrap up sooner than it expected. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Well, it's a good Monday morning, Delmarva, as we take a live look into a damp and soggy Salisbury this morning. We're at 59 degrees there. Winds are pretty calm there, about 7-9 miles an hour sustained. We're seeing some gusty winds continue along the coast out of the north, 32 in Indian River Inlet to 30, Georgetown, 29 in Ocean City. Temperature-wise, upper 50s, 57 in Harrington and Milford to 62. Lewis, we're at 60, Bethany Beach, and 61 in Ocean City. We've been dealing with a lot of low-level moisture this morning, mist, some on and off showers. Most of this activity is now lifting to the north, and you can see the rain, some heavy rain extending into New York City, Long Island, all on the northern side of this area of low pressure that's spinning just to our east. And we'll see some wraparound moisture throughout the day today and into the evening. So we're continuing to brace for another round of coastal flooding this afternoon. Moderate to major tidal flooding is expected through high tide this afternoon, and this nor'easter is finally going to exit our area by Tuesday, as skies will gradually begin clearing late tomorrow into Wednesday. We'll talk more about that coming up in the full 7-day forecast. Matt.
Okay, Chris. The threat of the big storm caused the 28th annual Endless Summer Cruising to close out earlier than planned. This is video that we actually shot on Thursday. All of Sunday's, yesterday's activities, they were moved to Saturday, meaning Saturday was the final day of summer cruising. Still was a weekend with plenty of classic cars and hot rods. And this year's event concluded with the Hot Rod and Custom Car Show Awards.
In Georgetown, planners want input from people living in the town on the future of the downtown area. There is one more day to complete a development survey. Town officials say this is to help develop growth, improvements, and other opportunity plans. The last day to fill out that survey is October 14th.
Jaden Daniels returned last week for Washington at quarterback, and with the Eagles' recent slide, there's an opportunity here for the Burgundy and Gold to return to first place in the NFC East. One extra day of rest following their Week 5 win against the Chargers. Washington is back home tonight to take on the suddenly surging Bears. On the ground, Washington getting quality production from Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who says he is ready for some football.
I'm definitely excited. National television, everybody's watching, and this stuff we dreamed of since we was little. So I mean, I'm definitely excited, just ready to go out there and do my job.
Bears are returning to the scene of the Hail Mary crime from last year. Kickoff tonight is set for 8:15. Yesterday in Baltimore, the Ravens managed only 3 points. Rams scored 17. There's an ugly situation developing in Baltimore. The Ravens head into the bye week with a record of 1-5.
And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 4 o'clock, Stephen Decatur takes on James M. Bennett in boys soccer. Then it's the final score at 10:30. Along with that Decatur-Bennett soccer game, here's what you can expect on DSN Plus. At 5:30, Crisfield travels to Snow Hill in boys soccer. Also at 5:30, Kent Island faces Easton in boys soccer. And at 6, Indian River hosts Delmarva Christian in boys soccer. Movie news now, here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
If you are not to abort love, then I will indulge in rage.
An award for Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro's latest epic and its creator and stars are set to receive the Gotham Vanguard tribute at the 35th Annual Gotham Film Awards ceremony December 1st in New York. The Gotham Film and Media Institute calls it a bold reimagining of a timeless tale.
He found himself at the very center of an ancient prophecy.
The prophecy says there will be a man, and he will unite all the indigenous people of the Amazon.
The documentary, The Man Who Saves the World, with a question mark, follows Patrick McCollum, a longtime spiritual leader, peace advocate, and friend of the late Jane Goodall, as he travels the globe on a quest both absurd and profound. The film opens in select theaters beginning Friday. Locations and showtimes at themanwhosavestheworld.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com/signup and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Well, we're definitely going to need the large coffee this morning as we deal with some flooded roadways in and across the coastal areas. A lot of clouds, a lot of low clouds and spotty drizzle throughout the day today, and gusty winds continue. We'll have to talk about another round of coastal flooding this afternoon when Coast TV News Today comes right back.
We are taking a live look outside at Salisbury this morning. Chris, it has been a busy 24 hours for our coast and for you as well, our entire weather team. It's another reminder for everyone to download our Coast TV News and weather apps because you are giving us up-to-date alerts on there.
Yeah, and you'll get the latest watches, warnings, advisories right from the National Weather Service exactly to your specified location and zip code. So make sure you download that app today. We are dealing with quite a bit of wave action along Ocean City and our coast here on Delmarva. Waves upwards of 7 to as high as 13 feet. We're at 61 in Ocean City. Still quite breezy at this hour, especially at the coast. We're dealing with gusts upwards of 34 Indian River Inlet, 29 Ocean City, 30 in Georgetown. Now, we're not going to see the 50, 60 mile an hour winds like we saw yesterday and early this morning. So the winds are going to be sort of relaxing through the day today. Temperature wise, we're at 62 in Lewis and 58 in Seaford. Seeing a few low clouds out there across coastal Sussex down through Ocean City. We had some mist, some shower activity earlier this morning, but that has since dissipated and lifted off to the northeast. But you can see this big counterclockwise flow around this area of low pressure that's parked just to our east. So we're going to see a few of these showers and areas of drizzle pivot back into the region later on today. Wave action, look at that, 17-foot waves off the Jersey coast. You can see that wind flow out of the north, and we're going to still see those coastal flood warnings up through about 8 o'clock tonight. That is the primary concern. Coastal flooding along coastal Kent and coastal Sussex County as we go into high tide this evening. Gale warnings up through tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, and that coastal flood warning extends down to Accomack and Worcester counties. Gale warning up through about 7 a.m. this morning across Ocean City. Coastal flood advisories. Dorchester, Somerset, Wacomico, that runs through 2 a.m. Tuesday, where we could be dealing with some minor coastal flooding there. So moderate to major coastal flooding expected this afternoon through high tide. Could see up to 2 to 3 feet of inundation with that wave action and that persistent north to northeast wind. Expecting moderate flooding in Bowers, Lewis, and Indian River Inlet after about 2:30 this afternoon, and then minor tidal flooding in Ocean City. Plenty of clouds today, misty conditions with spotty drizzle developing this afternoon through the evening. Winds gusting upwards of 30, 40 through the morning. But then as we go into the afternoon, you'll see the wind shift more out of the north-northwest. Gusts upwards of 30, 35 miles an hour. As we go into Tuesday, as that area of low pressure pushes further to our east, we'll see the wind shift more out of the north-northeast into the day on Tuesday. And then those winds will really begin to relax as we go into Wednesday. A lot of clouds today. That north to northeasterly wind flow continues, and then we're going to be dealing with a few of those showers pivoting back into the region as we go into the evening time frame through the overnight. So another damp start to our Tuesday with spotty showers, but we will be improving greatly by the afternoon as skies and that cloud deck begin to clear by your Wednesday morning. Rainfall totals, as I mentioned, pretty minor through the next 24 hours, a general quarter. Maybe we squeeze out a half an inch up through Kent County to the north. As far as this area of low pressure, it's going to weaken, push out to our east. High pressure is going to be building in late week, and we are going to be rewarded with plenty of sunshine and below average temperatures. 64 this afternoon with on and off showers. Continuing to see those breezy conditions throughout the peninsula today. 56 overnight with spotty showers. A damp start to our Tuesday, but we gradually begin to dry out through the afternoon. A mostly cloudy Tuesday, and then the skies will finally begin to clear. We're bumping it up to 71 degrees, and that's going to feel pretty good after 2 days of rain, wind, and dreary conditions. And look at that pattern we settle into late week. Mostly sunny skies. Highs in the low 60s. Could be dealing with morning lows in the 30s come Friday morning, and then a pretty nice weekend right now, looking at temperatures bouncing back up into the 70s. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. This was the scene in Norfolk, Virginia. Cars in deep water, lots of flooding. As you can see, much of that area mirrors what we are seeing closer to home. We will continue to track this storm as we do all storms. Be sure to download our Coast TV weather app and stay with us on all of our social platforms.
Well, once we get all settled down with this situation, we are looking to have an evening of fun at the Lewis Fire Department. Here's some of the details about that. They are hosting its 6th annual open house. This will be on Thursday, October 16th. From 4 to 8 p.m. And according to organizers, there will be a children's design contest, live demonstrations, and equipment displays. People can enjoy music and food from local restaurants, and this open house is taking place at Station 2.
The time is now 5:54, and we're going to take a look at our coastal pets of the day.
Yeah, we've got a couple pets here for this hour on your screen right now. We got Harry and Benny. As you can see, they are enjoying a nice walk. Probably going to opt for a rain check today, though. But these two pups embrace nature outside any chance they get. And they were submitted to us by Emily in Lincoln.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
There's a QR code there, top center. Scan that. Get your friends to Coast TV News. And then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 5:57, and we are going to take another look at our very busy forecast this morning.
Yeah, Chris, high tide this afternoon. That has our focus going forward.
Yeah, that's really going to be our primary concern. Moderate to major coastal flooding likely through that high tide cycle this afternoon. The heaviest rain, the strongest winds are behind us. That is the good news. The bad news is we're not going to see not much in the way of sunshine today. We're going to see a lot of low clouds, some spotty drizzle, temperatures right in around the upper 60s to a lower to mid 60s this afternoon with breezy conditions continue. We'll see gusts upwards of 35, 40 miles an hour. We'll see a few morning showers early Tuesday, a lot of clouds through the day, and then we'll gradually get those clouds out here by Wednesday. 71, high pressure builds in, and we cool down. Lower 60s for highs with plenty of sunshine. Thursday and Friday, we begin Friday with temperatures in the 30s, and then next weekend looking very nice. We welcome back the 70s, low to mid 70s, and we don't see a chance of rain arrive until next Monday once we clear out this nor'easter today.
All right, thank you, Chris. And coming up in our next hour, strong gusts continue. We are seeing some impressive scenes up and down our coast. Our coverage on its effects when Coast TV News Today returns in a moment.